Michael Stevens stood at the edge of the wedding reception, his tailored black suit fitting him perfectly, though it couldn't quite contain the nervous energy thrumming through his chest. The elegant ballroom glowed with soft blue and purple lights, and the gentle hum of conversation filled the air. He'd built an empire over the past 7 years, his investment firm now worth millions. But standing here tonight, all that success felt strangely hollow. He was nursing his second glass of champagne when he saw her, Rachel Morrison, the woman he'd let slip away all those years ago. She stood near the dance floor in a stunning blue dress that caught the light beautifully, her brown hair swept elegantly to one side. But it wasn't just Rachel who made Michael's breath catch in his throat. It was the little girl beside her, maybe 6 or 7 years old, wearing a black dress that twirled as she spun in circles, her hair flowing behind her like silk. Michael's mind raced backward through time. 7 years ago, he'd been ambitious, driven, obsessed with making his mark on the world. Rachel had wanted stability, a family, a life built on more than quarterly earnings reports. They'd fought about it, of course, many times, until one rainy Tuesday evening when she'd packed her bags with tears streaming down her face, and he'd been too proud, too foolish, to stop her. "You'll regret this," she'd said softly at the door. Not with anger, but with a sadness that had haunted him ever since. He'd thrown himself into his work after that, building his company from nothing, proving to himself and to the world that he could succeed. But in the quiet moments, late at night, in his empty penthouse, he'd wonder what might have been different if he'd just asked her to stay. Now, watching Rachel laugh as the little girl tugged at her hand, eager to dance, Michael felt something crack open inside his chest. The child had Rachel's smile, that same warm, genuine expression that could light up a room. But there was something else, something in the way she tilted her head when she laughed, in the intensity of her hazel eyes. Michael knew he should walk away. 7 years was a lifetime. Rachel had clearly moved on, built a family, created the life she'd always wanted. What right did he have to interrupt that? But his feet carried him forward anyway, drawn by something stronger than logic or pride. "Rachel?" he said quietly, and she turned. For a moment, time seemed to pause. Her blue eyes widened, and 1,000 unspoken words passed between them. Surprise, certainly, but also something softer, something that looked almost like relief. "Michael," she whispered. Then, seeming to gather herself, she smiled. "I wondered if you might be here. David mentioned you were doing business with his brother." The little girl was watching him now with open curiosity, still holding Rachel's hand. "I didn't know you," Michael started, then stopped, unsure how to finish the sentence delicately. Rachel's expression shifted, becoming both gentle and serious. She glanced down at the girl, then back at Michael. "This is Emma," she said simply. "Emma, sweetheart, this is Mr. Stevens, an old friend of Mommy's." "Hello, Mr. Stevens," Emma said with careful politeness, though her eyes were bright with the uncontained energy of childhood. "Do you like to dance? Mommy says I have to find a partner who knows how to spin properly." Michael felt his throat tighten. "I might be a little rusty," he managed, crouching down to Emma's level, "but I'd be honored to try." As Emma beamed and immediately grabbed his hand, practically dragging him toward the dance floor, Rachel followed, and Michael noticed something in her eyes. Nervousness, perhaps, or was it hope? On the dance floor, Emma proved to be an enthusiastic, if somewhat chaotic dancer. Michael found himself laughing, genuinely laughing, for the first time in months. When the song ended, Emma immediately spotted one of her friends and ran off with a quick "Thank you, Mr. Stevens." Rachel stepped closer, and suddenly they were alone together in the crowd. "She's wonderful," Michael said. "You must be very proud." Rachel's smile wavered slightly. "Michael, I need to tell you something. Can we step outside for a moment?" His heart pounding, Michael followed her to a quiet balcony overlooking the garden. The night air was cool and filled with the scent of jasmine. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. "I tried to tell you," Rachel finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. 7 years ago, the night I left." Michael's world tilted. "What do you mean?" "I was pregnant, Michael. Just a few weeks. I'd found out that afternoon." She turned to face him, tears glistening in her eyes. "I tried to tell you during our argument, but you were so focused on your business deal, on proving yourself. Every time I started to say it, you'd cut me off, talking about how children would have to wait, how you weren't ready for that responsibility." Michael felt like he'd been punched in the stomach. "Emma," he breathed. Rachel nodded. "I left because I couldn't bear to trap you into a life you clearly didn't want. I thought I was doing the right thing, letting you chase your dreams without the burden of a family holding you back." "Burden?" Michael's voice cracked. "Rachel, you were never a burden. Neither of you would have been. I was just scared, terrified, of failing, of not being good enough, of disappointing you." "I know that now," Rachel said softly. I was scared too. But I thought you deserved to know. After all this time, Emma asks about her father. So, I've always told her that he was a good man who had important work to do, and that maybe someday, when the time was right, they'd meet. Michael reached out, his hand trembling slightly, and gently took Rachel's. I've spent 7 years building an empire, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I have more money than I know what to do with. I've achieved every goal I set for myself. And you know what? None of it matters. Not compared to what I lost. Not compared to what I see right now, looking at you and that incredible little girl. Michael, Rachel started, but he continued. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not even asking for a second chance, though God knows I don't deserve one. But please, let me know my daughter. Let me be part of her life, even if it's just as that friend, Mr. Stevens, who shows up for birthdays and school plays. Rachel was crying now, and Michael realized he was too. You know what Emma asked me last week? Rachel said through her tears. She asked if wishes really come true. She's been wishing for a dad. Michael, every birthday candle, every shooting star. Michael's heart shattered and rebuilt itself in the same moment. I've been wishing to, he whispered, for 7 years. Wishing I could go back and do everything differently? Maybe we can't go back, Rachel said, stepping closer. But maybe we don't have to. Maybe we can just start from here, from this moment, and see where it leads. Through the glass doors, they could see Emma spinning on the dance floor, her black dress flowing, her laughter visible even if they couldn't hear it. She glanced toward the balcony and waved enthusiastically when she spotted them. Michael waved back. And as he did, Emma held up both hands, making a heart shape with her fingers. She does that all the time, Rachel said with a soft laugh. She says the world needs more love, and she's determined to spread it everywhere. She's perfect, Michael said, just like her mother. Rachel leaned her head against his shoulder, a gesture so familiar, yet so long missed, that it made Michael's chest ache. This is going to be complicated, she warned. She's almost 7. There's a lot of catching up to do. I have time now, Michael said. All the time in the world. I've learned something in these years. Rachel, success isn't measured in bank accounts or business deals. It's measured in moments like these. In second chances. In love. As they stood there, watching their daughter dance, with pure, unbridled joy, Michael understood something profound. Life had given him more than a second chance. It had given him a reason to be the man he'd always been meant to be. When Emma finally ran back to them, breathless and grinning, she grabbed both their hands. Can Mr. Stevens come to dinner with us, Mommy? Please. He seems nice, and you smile different when you look at him. Rachel and Michael exchanged a glance, and in that look was everything. The past, with all its pain and mistakes. The present, with its surprising grace. And the future, uncertain but suddenly filled with possibility. I think that could be arranged, Rachel said softly. Emma squeezed both their hands. Good, she declared with the absolute certainty of childhood. Because I think we're going to be a family. I just have a feeling. And standing there, holding hands with Rachel on one side and his daughter on the other, Michael realized that sometimes the most valuable thing you can build isn't a business or a fortune. It's a bridge back to the people who matter most. Sometimes, kindness gives us another chance to get it right.